Hi, we're live. Thanks for joining this Artist Spotlight with Pamela Edevold and the Northwest Minnesota Arts Council. I'm Kristin Eggerling, the promotions specialist, and Trey Everett, our showcase specialist, is with us as well. And we're just going to chat with Pamela about her art and about the art in the exhibit, and a number of other topics. Trey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Trey Everett, and I'm the showcase specialist, as Kristin said, and I work with our gallery at Northland Community and Technical College in Thief River Falls. And so right now we have a gallery, a portrait gallery, that's up for 2 months, and we have 4 artists. And so Pamela is one of our artists, and she has a featured section in the gallery of her beautiful artwork that we'll talk about in just a little bit. And so the gallery, it's open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. It's normal business hours of the college, and it's free and open to the public. There's a guest book you can sign when you go and see the gallery, and it's in the front of the college. You park near door B, as in boy, and you can go in that entrance, and the gallery is just to your right. So it's easy to get to, and we hope you can make it. It will run until the end of September, and we will have an artist reception on Wednesday, the 18th of September, and that's 5 to 7, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But yeah, so I just want to kind of turn it over to Pamela Edevold, who's the artist that we have right now, that we are happy that we can have you in our little spotlight. And Pamela, if you could just introduce who you are, and then tell us a little bit about the artwork that you have in the gallery.
Well, I am originally from Grafton, North Dakota, and living in the country between Shevlin and Bagley right now, with my husband on their family farm. I have a little studio on the farm here. Unfortunately, I'm not in there right now. I didn't know how the internet would be, but it's a wonderful space to work in. I concentrate primarily on portraits, always have. Been painting since I was a kid, and have always concentrated on people. My mother was an artist. She was a china painter and a ceramist, mainly, and but we always had art supplies in the house. So I mostly drew on the backs of scrap paper and painted walls. My bedroom was covered with my mural art, and but there was always people, or at least animals, something with a face in the images. I went right into commission portraiture in high school, and basically stayed with commission portraiture through my 40s and into my 50s, and so it was well over 35 years of commission portraiture. And now I'm concentrating on my own work. And so now I don't do much commission work right at the moment. I don't know if I'll get back into it again. Never say never. But I'm concentrating more on my own work and teaching. So right now, my love right now is for golden open acrylics. It's a medium I found back in around 2015. I applied for a grant, and got a grant to find a new medium, because up until about 2010, I was pretty much a full-time colored pencil portrait artist, doing colored pencil portrait commissions. And really wore my hand out. So I needed to find something else. It was more comfortable to work with a brush. And I had done, for a couple of decades, I had taught private classes, and I taught whatever the student was interested in. So if they came to me for private classes, I would ask them what they wanted to learn. And whatever they wanted to concentrate on, that's what I would teach. And if I didn't know it, I taught myself in order to teach them. So like I had a young man come and want to learn airbrush. So I taught myself how to airbrush so that I could teach him. So that's pretty much how my training has been through my life. Is I would decide I wanted to do something, and I would teach myself how to do it. And then if people liked it and they wanted to learn it, I'd turn around and teach it. So I've played around with a lot of different mediums, but the jobs that came to me were mainly in colored pencil, because it just kind of snowballed. That's how I started. You do a lot of them. That's what people want, because that's what they see. But I didn't feel that I was growing. All those decades of commission work, with commissions, it's a wonderful way to grow, in that you're constantly having to work and to practice and get better at your craft. But I didn't feel like I was growing, because they wanted what they saw that I already had. And I wanted to go out of that box and grow. So about between 2010 and 2015, I didn't do much of anything. I was kind of done with art. I ran a floral shop and kind of went in a different direction. And then I was ready to get back into it. So I applied for the grant to find a new medium. And my grant title was 18 paintings in 18 months. And I created 20 in that year and a half. And with the grant money, I bought all kinds of new mediums, but the very first one I tried was golden open acrylic. And every time I went to paint something new, I wondered what it would be like in that medium, just on different surfaces, using different other mediums, texture mediums, liquid mediums in the paint to change it, and different subject matters. Different brushes. I just always wanted to see what that medium would do for me. And most of the paintings of those 20 were in golden open acrylic, just on different surfaces and used different ways. And it's kind of what I've stuck with since then. Recently, in the past couple of years, I've been asked to teach colored pencil again. So I've started back into the colored pencil, excuse me. And now I'm working with the two medium together. So I'm teaching my first class in mixed media, golden open acrylic and colored pencil, next month in Bagley, and I'll be teaching it at least once next year again, and it depends on whether people get the grants for their classes. So now I'm going into another direction, and that's where I am now.
Do you want to talk about your work in this exhibit? There's a lot to say about it, I know. So,
well, this exhibit, it's called Preserving Local Indigenous Heritage Through Regalia, because a few years ago, I did a painting of a young gal from Red Lake who was going to the Boganagijig school. And my daughter and her husband both work there. And my daughter told me that Rosalina, her name is Rosalina Hunt, and she goes by Roz, wanted to be a model and was interested in modeling, and she'd be fun to paint. So I asked her if I could photograph her during one of their powwows at the school. And I asked the school for their permission to be able to go and do that as well. So I photographed Roz, took her out of the actual powwow and took her outside to photograph her so that I wouldn't get other people that hadn't agreed to be photographed in the images. It was inside in the school gymnasium, and it was also very dark, but I found myself right away wanting to focus on people I wasn't supposed to, because it was like my first introduction to that environment, and it was so vibrant and wonderful with the music and the colors and all the dancers. And it was really, really wonderful. And one of the things I talk about during my talk at the reception is during that powwow, a gal came up. I had brought my daughter, who is a photographer, my another daughter, Alicia. It's Tessa, who works at the school. And I brought Alicia along with me, along with her daughter, who was about 5 years old at the time. So both of us were taking photographs. Both Alicia and I were taking photographs. And we had Everly with us. And Everly was just bouncing. We're standing on the sidelines of this powwow, and Everly was just drawn into it, just mesmerized by it. And one of the dancers that Tessa knew as a student, but we didn't know, she didn't know us, she came over and took Everly by the hand and drew her into the circle to dance. And we were just kind of overcome by that. And it's something Everly will remember her whole life. And so there was that experience. And then from that photo shoot, I did a painting titled Prayer of the Red Dress, because Roz was wearing a red jingle dress. And I found out while I was doing the painting that she did a little write-up that hung on the wall of the school about her dress. She had made it herself, and the color red represented the murdered and indigenous women from her tribe. And she danced in that red dress as a healing prayer to go to those women and their families. And I thought that was beautiful. So when I heard that, I became immediately interested in if that sort of idea was also brought into other dancers' regalia and how they felt about their regalia. She had such a deep feeling about that dress. Was this common with the other dancers? And I thought about it. This was in 2020, and so we were going through COVID, and I don't enter a lot of art shows, but for that grant, part of that grant was I was going to enter my first art show. So for a few years then, I had entered and gotten into the Richardson International show. It's called the International Richardson International 75. And they're a gallery out of Wisconsin. They create some paints and products and have a gallery and classes there. And they do a series of online shows every year. And that year, because of COVID, they had just bought the casein paint line. And they gave the artists a small set of casein paints if they would enter the show. So it was the first casein painting I had ever done. And I entered it, and I got honorable mention on it. So that was great. And so it's one of my favorite paintings for many reasons. And from then on, it just kind of, I just kept thinking about that, and then finally decided to enter for a grant to do a show on the regalia and what the regalia means to the people that wear them. So I applied for the Creative Support for Individuals grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board in 2022. I applied and received it, and worked on it last year in 2023. And then this year, it's been a traveling exhibit around northern Minnesota. It started in Bagley in February of this year, and then went to Foston, and then to Park Rapids, and then back. Let's see, it was, yeah, and then back to Bagley. In between there, it went back to Bagley for, okay, so it went to Bagley and then Foston. I'm not good at this. It went to Bagley and then Foston, and then back to Bagley, and then Park Rapids, and then to Thief River Falls. And then it's going to take a rest then over the winter, and I will decide what I want to do next year, if I want to look for more locations, or if I want to see about putting it into, I'd like to see it end up in a museum, like a county museum or a state museum, where it would have a permanent house someday. That's my hope.
Yeah. I mean, your 10 pieces in the gallery that at Northland, it's just amazing. The color, the different regalia, they're in movement, or they're caught in different, I don't want to say poses, but as they're dancing or part of their ceremonies. It's just amazing. It's beautiful. And you have these 10 pieces, and then next to these pieces are some quotes by the people that you've painted. Can you say something about that?
Yes, the whole project was, I wanted the project to be about the models. The paintings are absolutely a big part of it, but I wanted the focus to be on the models. So even with the paintings, I took quite a bit of time trying to figure out how I wanted to do the paintings, what type of backgrounds, how loosely they would be painted, if they'd be more modern or more classic. And I settled on a very traditional type of painting with a very traditional type of background. These are traditional dances, and I wanted the focus to be on the models and not on the style or the textures or all of that. And the narratives are what they told me. Tessa and I wrote up a list of questions to give to the models. So they had an explanation. There was another sheet of paper that had an explanation of the project, and then there was a list of questions. And we didn't know what to ask, neither one of us. Tessa knew more about the culture because she worked in the school for several years, but still she's someone not of the culture. So she only knew what she was told or experienced there. And so we went into it very naively. I didn't do any, I purposely didn't do any research beforehand, and I still haven't done any research. One of the workers at the school told me of a book that I purchased that would be a good source, but I haven't read the book until I'm done giving my presentations, because I don't want to feel like I know what I'm talking about, because it's not my culture. It's not my story to tell. So the narratives are what they told me. And the models chose which questions they wanted to answer. And a lot of times they didn't answer very many of them. But then there were also the first painting that I did. As soon as I was finished with it, I sent I sent an image of the painting, and I would take their answers, they would just answer the question, and then I would turn them into paragraph form. Then I sent the narrative as along with the image of the painting to make sure that I had everything correct. Because when I would rewrite into paragraph form, I wanted to make sure that I didn't actually change the answer. And the mother of the young man then sent back all the other information that we hadn't even thought to ask for. So, and it was a lot of just really wonderful information that said, well, this is actually his spirit name. Can we include this, that, and he also does this and he does that. Can we include that? Absolutely. So then we added more questions, and when I was done with if they had already answered questions, I emailed them the rest of the questions, so that I would end up asking everyone the same questions. But some people didn't want to give their spirit names. That was too personal, and other people volunteered it. And then as I learned more about the spirit names, one of the young girls' uncles that I was talking back and forth with, he mentioned that she hadn't been given her spirit name, and kind of volunteered a little bit of information that went with it. And I asked him if he could elaborate on that and if I could use that in the show. So that's kind of a little bit of an extra. But I thought it was important to include it because a lot of the information that I got, it's very spiritual, and it's very much a choice. The young people, they have the choice of when they want to become involved, if and when they want to become involved in the cultural aspects of their life. If they want it to be more spiritual, if they want it to be anything to do, they choose if they want to dance, they choose if they want to attend the powwows, they choose how they want to express themselves. It's all a choice of, if they want to have a spirit name, they choose who gives it to them. So I thought that was really important to include. And it's all very personal. Some of the narratives are very short, and I had a little bit of trouble spreading them out a little bit to make them a little more substantial to draw someone in. And others, I had to leave some information out because it just wouldn't fit. They had so much. So it was wonderful. And as I worked with the people and worked on the paintings and worked on their narratives and talked back and forth with them, I really became rather protective of them. And it was like, this is for you, this is about you, and we will only share what you want to share. And I get rather emotional when I think about them. So it was a spiritual process for myself as well. And it's some part of it was because I am, for most of my life, I felt I was not a spiritual person. And when my daughter Tessa would come home, we have Sunday breakfast every week with Tessa, because she lives right next door. And she would tell me about her week at school and things that would happen, and she would tell me about some of the cultural practices that went on, and I was really drawn to it. A lot of it it's very close to the earth. It's very personal. It's very caring with wildlife and with everything, everything from trees to animals to your neighbors. It's a very and it's different from person to person. So they're not everyone in a tribe or in a group is not going to be the same. But these are the stories that I was drawn to and wanted to learn more about. And I'll never be able to claim them, but there are certain aspects that I can use in my own life and just be aware of. And that's really what it comes down to with this project. Is I lived here for over 25 years, and I knew nothing about this culture that we just live so close to. And I felt kind of guilty about that. It's very rich, and we can learn a lot about it. And the more we learn about all other cultures, I think we grow personally from that. And I thought, I need to use this opportunity that I have to get to know this culture when I can, because I might not have this opportunity again. At the time, my daughter and her husband both worked at the school, so I had the ability to talk with the people in charge and to meet people that I may otherwise not have the opportunity to. And now her husband just moved to Bagley. He's teaching in Bagley. Tessa is teaching again at the Bug-O-Nagy School this year, but we don't know how much longer that will be. And I was very lucky to be able to do this when I did.
Have you ever, any of the models or subjects of your work, have they attended any artist reception or events, or have they seen the work in the exhibited?
The show in Bagley, our reception there was really good. It was in the Bagley Library Gallery. It's a nice room. It's not very big, and it was packed. We had, I think it's between 45 and 50 people there, something like that. And the dancers, all 10 of the dancers that are in the exhibit were either from the Red Lake Band of Ojibwe or the White Earth Nation. And we had a really good turnout from both groups. And we had a government representative from the White Earth Nation come. And a very tall, imposing, handsome gentleman, and who gives great hugs, was there. And it was a very, to be my first actual talk. I for my show for the 18 paintings in 18 months, it was just a show and a meet and greet. This one actually came with a presentation, and it was the first time I had to do that. And to have so many of the members there, I think we had at least 6 of the models show up there. I think it was 6, and their families, and along with quite a few people from the Bagley community. And when I gave the speech and looked into the audience, I would see heads go up and down and agree with me, and that just kind of made me feel like I was on the right track. So I felt really good after it. I think it was well received. I've talked to people online, and when I post something on social media, it gets reposted many times from the models' families. And after the project, so this summer, the Watermark announced that they were doing their biannual art show in Bemidji for their members. And so I wanted to do something new, and there's still several paintings I'd like to create from the images I took. So I did a painting of one of the elders in the Red Lake community who sews a lot of the regalia dresses, the jingle dresses, for people in the community. And she also does a lot of beautiful beadwork. And at the Onagum powwow in July of 2023, where I photographed most of the White Earth models, she was there with with some of her granddaughters, and she posed with one of her granddaughters and they were wearing matching regalia jingle dresses. And it's just a wonderful photograph. And I told her at the Bagley reception that I still wanted to paint that, if that was okay. I didn't get it done for the show, but I still wanted to paint that. And she told me before she left that she was going to be looking for that painting. So tonight is actually the reception at the Watermark, and hopefully she will be there. But if not, the painting will be there, so she'll be able to see it in life. I gave her and her granddaughter Charlotte, and I gave each of the models a photographic copy of the painting, a framed photo of the painting. So they each have a framed photo of the painting that they were in. And then I also gave a copy of each painting and the painting of Eva and her granddaughter to the Baganagijig school, and they hang in the school. And then I had 8x10 copies of the photos for family members and other people who wanted to purchase them. And I have had people buy all 10. So I think they were happy with the project.
That's great. And so can you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned some of the work you do. You were very involved in portraits, commissioned portraits. You teach, and you're maybe getting back into that a little bit, possibly, and you are teaching some classes. Can you just tell us a little bit about how people can find out about these classes, how they can contact you? I know you have a website. Just tell us a little bit about that.
I started teaching again because I am one of the founders of the Bagley Area Arts Collaborative. And we have a wonderful grant writer who writes for classes. And so once in a while, I will teach in Bagley, and I've taught portraits and in golden open acrylic on watercolor paper, and in colored pencil, in both people and animals. They're all separate classes. I've taught several classes in Bagley. And so for the Bagley classes, you can just go on the Bagley Area Arts Collaborative website, which is bagleyAreaArts.org. We're also known as the BAAC. So the website has a list of classes coming up. I'm teaching mixed media in October. That class is full, and it's actually going to be a pretty big class. We have 16 people in that class right now. But if they are interested, they can still sign up for the waiting list in case people drop out. I got one more class this year. I'm teaching in Baudette. This is the class in Baudette coming up the first weekend in October. It will be colored pencil animals. I don't know if that one is full. It's a 3-day workshop. Pretty much all the workshops I've taught so far have been 3-day workshops. Last year I taught 2 classes in Baudette. This year, this will be the 4th one I'm teaching in Baudette. Next year they're trying for 2. And I've had a couple other towns now ask for classes. So it's just, I'm concentrating in the Bagley area. And then when people ask, then I will go. I tried putting out information for classes, to teach, but I'm not very strong on social media. And I think unless they contact you, they don't really see what I'm doing, if you don't have a really good social media following. So that's something I suppose I should work on, but I'm kind of balking. So right now I'm taking class opportunities as they come to me. And when I'm ready, if I want to get more into social media, I'll do that. I was pretty heavily into social media during COVID, and that was fantastic. And that's kind of where I learned about it. And I got heavily into that because one of my favorite TV programs was Portrait Artist of the Year. And it's a British program through Sky Arts. And during COVID, I kind of found it a little late, so I missed a few weeks of it. But they started doing on Instagram and Facebook, where the show actually aired on Facebook Live, I believe it's called. And so they did a live broadcast early Sunday mornings for us. And they invited then the world to paint along. So they would have a guest artist, and they had a model, both in separate locations. So the guest artist would paint the model via Zoom, and the world would join in either live or by tape. So I went on by tape, and then so that was Sunday morning, and then the following Friday, it would air, and they would pick a winner. And they did one in the spring, and then again in the fall. And in the fall, I won first place one week. So that was an international thing, and that is something that's probably one of my main high points of my career, because it was my favorite show. And they contacted me on Thursday to tell me I was in the top 3, just to give me a heads up that on actually it was, they contacted, I got that wrong. They let you know the following Sunday during the live show if you won. And they contacted me that Friday. But so that they told me that there was going to be a live interview, and if I won, so to be ready. So I was ready Sunday morning, watching the show live, and it was really early. And when they tried to call me, it didn't go through. So the phone call didn't go through. So then later the following week, like that Wednesday, they said, "Oh, we've decided that we really want to talk to you. So would you make a video?" And I had to learn. I had one day to make a video of myself thanking them. And it took all day because I had no idea what I was doing. And that's where I decided, I wanted to film it in the studio, and we had trouble getting the internet going right. But by the end of the day, I was exhausted, and I had one taped, and you could tell I was exhausted, but I had one taped. And in the meantime, I was talking with the judges back and forth. On one of the judges would talk to me and kind of guide me through it. And I was watching these people and watching this gal, and then now I got to talk to her. So it was really a fun experience. And they're still taping the show. It's Portrait Artist of the Year, and they also have Landscape Artist of the Year. So it's fantastic if you can find it. I think I haven't watched it now for a while, and I need to get back into it. So yeah, but I got a lot of followers that way, and I got to talk to a lot of artists from all over the world, and that was they still comment on my work, though I'm not good at getting back on there, but it's like I recognize artists from the other countries that I used to talk to, and they're still talking to me, and I need to talk to them back this winter.
Well, and I will say, you know, if you are offering classes in our region, I am happy to promote it on the Arts Council Facebook or website, or in our newsletter. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
People can find out about things through us. So, so, you know, when you teach your classes, are you willing to go? I know you said that mostly the Bagley area and Badette, like if Warren requested you to come,
Oh, absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
or I live in Hallock, would you ever come to Hallock and do it?
Oh, absolutely. And I do have, I've had people reach out to me, and there's several people that have asked for classes next year, but most of these classes are grant driven. So I can't say I am going to be teaching there,
Sure.
because they've gotten the information and they're working on it. So even like the Badette wants 2 classes next year, but it's grant driven. So I can't say for sure I'm going to be teaching in Badette, but now I've already taught up there 5 times, and it'll be the 6th time coming up here. And it's a little over half of the class is usually the same people, and then we get a kind of a mixture in the rest of the class. And it's really nice to go back and see the friendly faces, and it was a wonderful group to kind of learn how this works with, because they're just a wonderful group. So most of my teaching experience has been one-on-one or very small classes. So these are classes of 12 to 16. So.
And then can you tell us what your website is?
It's PamelaEdevold.com.
Okay.
Yep. And then I have the Facebook, Pamela Edevold Art, and Pamela Edevold _art on Instagram.
Okay. All right.
Great.
And I just want to mention the exhibit again. So it's a portrait gallery exhibit. And so Pamela's one of our artists. There's 4 artists. I just want to name the other artists. There's Therese Masters Jacobson. And so she has some acrylics and some watercolor portraits of her family members. And then we have Heidi Danos, and she has some digital portraits that are fun and interesting, along with the original photo next to what she's done digitally. And then we have Jessica Lundeen, and she has watercolor animal portraits, and so that's fun. And then we have Pamela's 10 pieces, and it makes this a really wonderful exhibit and a wonderful experience. So we encourage anyone to try to see it in person. And then our reception will be Wednesday the 18th from 5 to 7. And then Pamela, you have in the past, you've been able to give a little talk.
Yes.
And so we're planning on that happening. And so what we're going to do is, the exhibit's open from 5 to 7, but at 5:30, if I remember right, that's when you'll begin and just kind of go through your 10 pieces. And
yes. So I taught. This is about. I'm sorry. This is about my experience doing the project. So the narratives are the dancers' responses, solely the dancers' responses, and the artist talk is how I felt about each piece and my experiences photographing them and what I've learned. So.
Okay, great.
And it's run up to 45 minutes because sometimes the audience gets involved. And when we've had Native audience members and someone asks a question, I go to the audience member to kind of help me answer it, because I don't there again, I don't want to feel like I know what I'm talking about. It's just my experience. And then, but we've had people in the audience who will then talk about it. And then we all learn from that. It's wonderful.
Okay, great.
Did you have any other, anything else you wanted to talk about or that you want people to know about?
I think we've covered it. I can talk a long time. So I do.
Well, we really appreciate you talking with us today and talking about the exhibit and your art. And yeah, it's a fantastic exhibit. So
Wonderful. Good.
yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
thank you, Trey,
Yeah.
for allowing me in.
Yeah, this is great. I'm so happy this worked out for you to be in the exhibit. And as Kristin said, it's really a gorgeous exhibit, and we encourage anyone to try to stop by and see it and try to make it to the reception. Again, that's September 18th from 5 to 7. And then Pamela's will give a little special presentation starting at 5:30. We'll have snacks and drinks, and it should be a great time. So awesome.
And then the exhibit's open till the end of September, right?
Yes, till the end of September. I don't know if I've actually set a particular date, but yeah, through that last week of September, and then so please, we encourage you to come out for that.
And on our website, we do have a virtual exhibit, so we walk through the whole exhibit so you can see all the images that are in it. So if you can't make it over there, you can watch it that way. So
yeah. And then are you able to put Kristin or on the website Pamela's info, like her website? And
yeah, I'll do that.
things like, okay, so people can, if you didn't catch that, you can go to our Arts Council website and find Pamela's information.
Just give me a little bit of time, but I should be able to get that done today.
So just wait 10 minutes and then go look.
Good. Well, thank you very much. And
well, thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
End the stream.